My name is Mariam Elaghil. I'm originally from Yemen. I'm currently in second year dentistry, doing my Doctor of Dental Surgery at Dalhousie University.
What did you do before that?
I did my undergrad, my honors degree in microbiology and immunology, also at Dalhousie University. I arrived in Canada in December 2013. It was very different coming from Yemen to Canada. It was a little bit of a culture shock at the beginning, especially because I came in the winter semester. So I wasn't able to interact with a lot of people in orientation week and things like that. And starting a new program in another country alone, just with my brother, is definitely a huge culture shock at the beginning, yes. To be honest, it took me a while to adapt. The first semester, I couldn't start in science in the fall because my visa was delayed. I graduated high school at 16 and I was supposed to come here at age 17. As soon as my visa got delayed, I arrived here in December of 2013. So I started in the winter semester and I didn't really have any science courses I could take. So I decided to take some courses in engineering. And everyone already had formed groups. Everyone was already in little cliques, know each other. And I just came in completely new. I don't know anyone. So it took me a really long time to adapt. I think I fell into a lot of depression and anxiety, and I didn't have friends for the first semester. And then in the summer, the same thing happened. And then I just decided to, you know what? I need to get my life together and not have to go through this again. So as soon as the fall semester started, I decided to start my science program. And it was just a new turning page for me because I struggled in the first semester and I had a scholarship to maintain. And I'm like, I'm not gonna let my social anxiety, my depression affect my academics because my scholarship, I had to maintain it to be able to afford to go to university. So I decided to just, whatever I was going through, just pour myself into work. I started to get part-time jobs and just fill my life with a lot of volunteer work to, give back to society, to do as best as I can in school. And I feel like that helped me adapt, just throwing myself into work and giving myself the maximum of what I can do so I just don't have any free time to think about what I'm going through. Because I already escaped war from Yemen. Before I left, our house was being bombed. It was just, I had to live with no electricity, nothing. It was a lot of struggle at the beginning because without electricity, for example, not being able to leave the house, I had to miss school for a few months, and that was difficult on its own. So when I looked back, I'm like, this was my escape. This was my escape for a better future. So I just wanted to come to Canada and just, try to help my country as much as possible. But at the same time, I needed to build myself. I need to give myself a better future. Because if I'm stuck in Yemen, who knows what the situation would have been like? Who knows what I would have been able to accomplish if I stayed in that war zone? Coming from war, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I'm like, I'm going to leave the war. I'm going to have proper Wi-Fi. I'll be able to walk outside without, being harassed or anything. I just minimized any struggle that was going to happen in Canada. I just thought, there's nothing that can be worse than war. So coming here will definitely be a better change. And it was, don't get me wrong. I'm super grateful for everything. But at the same time, I minimized the struggles that come with it. Start afresh in a new country, to culture shock, being visibly different in a community that I'm not used to, getting used to different educational system. I didn't really think these things through. And even though they're smaller struggles than living in war, for example, they're still worthy. They're still they impact your life. So I definitely thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was, but at the same time, it was a better future because, I escaped war. So that was definitely something, that's good that happened.
Does Canada feel like home to you?
It does, yes. It definitely does. Well, I consider myself lucky that I have two countries to call home. So I call Canada my home, because my parents are also just moved to Canada, my siblings are here, but I also call Yemen still my home. I'm never going to give up on saying that Yemen is not my home. So my two brothers were living in Halifax, Nova Scotia before I came. And once the situation in Yemen escalated and the war escalated, I just found my gateway to escape. And my parents really emphasized education, and they saw the struggles that my sister went through, for example, and what I went through of not being able to go to school for a few months and not have electricity and have our life impacted by the war. So they saw an escape. They're like, okay, you can go to your siblings, hopefully settle in Canada and build your future there. So it was definitely my family that helped me in the process and, urged me to kind of build my life in Canada rather than just stick around in Yemen and hope for the war to end and hope to build a future there. I started in the winter semester and I felt out of place. I went into an engineering where everyone was already forming a clique and there wasn't really orientation. And there was an orientation for international students, but I thought it was just not very inclusive to everyone. It wasn't really targeted towards different majors, different people, different ethnicities. And I think that's definitely something that would be helpful for people just to get over that culture shock, to connect them with people that can mentor them, to connect them with people that can show them, that have the similar experience, that can guide them through it. I didn't have anyone at that point. I just had my brother, and his experience was completely different to mine. So when I arrived, I felt like I had no one to talk to, no one to guide me through it. So I think that's something that I would change, is to connect people, or in a mentorship group, for example, that can help navigate through society here, at least. As a girl, a Muslim, Arab, hijabi girl going into engineering, it was definitely, I felt like I was being looked at in a different way. Everyone, again, was already forming in groups, and I felt judged by people, and I felt like even people back home, they were saying, how can a girl be in engineering? How would something like this work? Engineering is such a male-dominated industry. And to me, it was always like my parents always urged us to seek whatever we saw, what we want to achieve. And it doesn't matter gender, that doesn't matter. And to me, just being, female and hijabi and Muslim, that alone just put me at a major disadvantage. And I think that's something that I would also change in society, which is just to remove those stereotypical looks on females. Be like, you can achieve whatever you want. You want to go into engineering, you can go ahead. You'll be amazing at it. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a dentist, whatever you want, you can achieve it. Dentistry is more inclusive, I feel. There's always different people. There's a lot of Arabs in my class. There's people from Yemen. There's people from Kuwait. So it's a little bit more ethnically diverse than I found in undergrad or in engineering, for example, or even in microbiology and immunology. I felt that there's more diversity in my school, at least in dentistry, so I didn't find that issue at all. I would tell my younger self not to have high expectations, especially coming to Canada. It was definitely a transition. You escaped war. Yes, that's amazing. You're going to have a better future, but also don't minimize the struggle that comes with it. Don't pretend like moving to Canada is such an easy task, that it's just going to be easy for you. It's going to be a struggle. I had to go through so much to reach where I am right now. Escaping war has its own trauma coming with it, but then going through culture shock and depression and anxiety and having to support for yourself, having to, I had to work 3 part-time jobs while I was doing full-time school and my honors project. And then after that, I had to work for 2 years while I tried to apply for dentistry and med school. And, and things don't come easy. They don't come easy as I expected they would be when I was in Yemen, thinking, oh, when I live in Canada, everything's going to be easy. It's just going to be a walk in the park. It will be a piece of cake. But it definitely isn't. Just don't take things for granted. Be thankful for everything you have, but also work hard towards your future. And I think I've worked really hard throughout. Again, I had so much going on in my life, a lot of trauma, depression, but at the same time, just I used that towards doing something good with my life. I used that towards always keeping myself busy, always having volunteer jobs, always having other part-time jobs, always trying to get myself involved in society. Even now in dentistry, I don't just, I made it to dentistry, that's it, I'm not going to do anything. I always still try to better myself and do things for the society. So I think that's something that I would give myself as an advice as a young person, and also to a lot of other young people out there, is, things are not going to come easy. You just have to work as hard as you can, especially if you're from a minority group. I think things are difficult for us, so just work as hard as you can and you'll make it. I've always had this battle with myself of always trying to achieve more and trying to, I'm almost like I'm competing with myself. If I see something is so hard, difficult, I make it a challenge for myself to try to achieve it. And Obviously, it's kind of bad to kind of think of yourself as a disadvantage, to feel like, you know, you might not be able to achieve things just because of how you look, or you know, what gender you're in, or what ethnicity you're from, or how you look in terms of the hijab or no hijab. It sucks to feel that way, but at the same time, if you use it in a positive way, if you use it towards trying to, you know, better yourself and try to achieve stuff, I feel like I don't find that as a problem. It's just a motivator, I guess. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please like, share, and subscribe.